So listen, right? If you're frustrated that your social anxiety isn't going away and you're not seeing much improvement at the moment, and you have been putting in some effort, stay on this video. I'm going to explain how you overcome this. So hit that subscribe button as well. Oh, by the way, guys, if you're wondering why does it look like a Batman film, because half of me's light here and it's dark here. That's because I got one light this side. I'm going to have to invest soon and get another light so I can have light here which will light this side, and it's kind of light, but at the same time I kind of like the look. I'm still experimenting and getting better at lighting and different effects, and I think sometimes this gives it a cinematic look. And I did study all this during lockdown, so that's why it looks like this. I didn't do it on purpose, but at the same time I kind of like the look. It's fun, and I'm into things like this. So some of my videos, the lighting is more balanced. It depends on outside the room. So let me explain something. Everyone at some point, my clients go through this, I went through this with social anxiety, where you feel like you're putting in a lot of effort, but you're not really seeing any changes. Like, you're still feeling anxiety, you're still worrying about getting awkward, you're still overthinking before you go into social situations, during social situations, and after social situations. So let me explain this. What's happening here is because you're analysing progress too much. If you keep constantly checking and saying, how comes I'm not where I want to be, and that kind of gives you the illusion that you're not moving forward. It's good, obviously, to monitor progress. What you want to do is, if you find yourself feeling like this is when you've got to push yourself more. So maybe what you're doing at the moment, obviously it's good, but you're not seeing the results of it. That probably tells me that maybe you need to step things up. You need a bigger challenge. So maybe you need to go and do some public speaking, or whatever is difficult to you. You know, every once in a while, really push yourself. Maybe it's easy for you to speak to one person, so you want to actually practice talking to a group of people. Maybe doing a YouTube video would be really intimidating, uncomfortable. You want to do that. So sometimes it's a sign that you've got to a certain point where you're growing, but it's not really having that much of an effect. Now, another thing as well is, because of this process takes quite long, you can't always see all the little 0.5s, you know, in relation to where you're improving. But all of a sudden, if you stick at it, you'll become aware one. This is what happened to me, happens to clients, where you'll suddenly realise, man, I've improved a lot. Man, in this situation used to make me awkward. Look how much more I'm speaking, or look how much better I can listen, or look how much my connections are improving. So you've got to stick at it. You've got to be patient, and you can't allow self-doubt, impatience and frustration talk you out of continuing, because success is always like that in a lot of areas. There is a process. There is a time period where you put in a lot in and you feel like you're not getting a lot out. And that's just the way things are. But if you keep going beyond that, you will eventually see the progress. You will get to a point where you're like, man, this has been worth it. And like I said, that's not just with getting over social anxiety and building confidence and social skills. That applies for life, in business, you know, in YouTube, in fitness. But this is where you've got to be motivated. I almost call it a double motivation. So you've been motivated thus far, but I'd say you've got to tap into more of yourself. You've really got to wake up. You've really got to go, no, I'm not going to let that voice deter me. Because if you start getting into the whole, it's not fair, I'm facing my fears and I'm not getting nothing back, then you can easily fall into being a victim again, and then you can stunt your growth. You might just throw the towel in and quit, and I've seen many people do that. And there were times in my life, at least 20 times, where I went to quit. I went to quit on my goals and teaching and things, because I was like, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm still nervous. I'm still getting awkward. I'm still feeling all these anxieties. But that was a sign that I actually was getting somewhere. But I wasn't recognizing, I wasn't seeing the positives. I was getting too impatient. So impatience is anxiety, another form of anxiety. So just take some time out to reflect on how far you've come, because often when I work with clients on 6 weeks program, they're focusing on what's going wrong, but they forget to focus on what's going right. And when I remind them, look how much better you are in this session. You couldn't do that in the first session. And they're like, oh yeah, you're right. So sometimes you've got to be careful that your mind's not tricking you and getting you to focus on you know, the limitations that you have or not getting there quick enough. And remember, it is a journey, it's a process. You'd be bored if you got everything in one day, although you kind of want that. So don't begrudge the work. Don't begrudge the fact that it takes time. But every little bit of action that you put in is going to make a difference. And all those 0.5s, you know, the days turn to months and the months turn to years, and all of a sudden you transformed. So when people ask me, how did I go from the person I used to be to the person I am now, it's because I took the advice that I'm giving you. I came to this understanding, or I came to this realization. And a lot of the times, the best growth periods are where you feel like quitting. How many of us, just let me know in the box below right now, just be honest if you feel like quitting right now, you feel like quitting on your social anxiety, on getting over it, because it's getting challenging. I want you to really, I want you to think again and think why you're doing this, and, you know, look how much you've changed already. So step it up, be patient, focus on the positives. Sometimes you've got to get feedback from people around you, family and friends, and ask them, am I improving? And most people will say, yeah, you are. They'll tell you, they can see it. So it's not that you're not improving, it's just that it's not happening at the rate that you expect, or you're obsessing too much, you're constantly checking. The same with the gym. If you're checking every day in the mirror, you won't notice that your muscles are growing or you're getting more toned, because you're looking at it too often, where you could be using that energy to put some more work in. So let's have less analysis, less analysing, less self-judgment, and take more action, more intelligent action, and enjoy it, take your mind off of it. You know, getting over social anxiety doesn't have to be miserable. For most part, it can be fun. Probably my best periods in my life were facing the social anxiety, making friends and helping people, making money and having breakthroughs and having new conversations and getting uncomfortable and having challenging days and having good days. Enjoy the process. That's really the solution to getting over impatience, frustration. And in the next month or so, that breakthrough that you so badly want, it will usually come when you don't expect it. When you're like, I want it now, why ain't it coming now? Why ain't it coming now? It ain't going to come like that. You have to let go of it and enjoy and then almost not care about it. Accept that you're awkward right now. Accept that it's nerve-wracking being around people. And then before you know it, with a bit more work, a bit more of a more positive mindset, boom, it will come. The awkwardness will just be taken away from you and you'll be relaxed and confident. So I hope this serves you well. If you want to go a step further and get my online social anxiety coaching, do my online program, email me and we can set up a Zoom call and I can explain to you how it works and see if you're right for my coaching. I'm the right person to help you. And I also do in-person coaching as well, because I think for some people it really does help them to have someone to speak to have some accountability, especially someone who's been through this themselves, who can understand. So my online coaching is really valuable, especially at this point in time where you might need some direction, accountability. You might need to look at your schedule and look at your life and organize it in a way where you're getting out more, you're taking more action, being more social, all right? So I could tell you more about that on a Zoom call that we can arrange, all right? Fearless.